Hey everyone, it's Elaine. I'm back. I know I haven't been on this channel for a couple of months, and it's because I was so focused on my internship and finishing up the requirements that I need to become an associate therapist in California. So I am an official associate therapist in California. There is like a rigorous process that therapists have to go through in order to become licensed. So there's like a hierarchy, like intern, which I was, and then I became an associate therapist, and then the final level is licensed therapist, where I don't need supervision from a more experienced therapist or healer. Um, but because of the legalities and the logistics and all that I have to abide by, especially when providing psychotherapy. But with that being said, I actually, the clinic that I work for specializes in trauma, domestic violence, narcissistic abuse. I work on the spectrum from with victims of domestic violence, victims of sexual assault, victims of coercive control, the reason why I think I'm so pulled toward this area is because of the way I grew up in this type of system of the Iglesia Ni Cristo, which has a lot of coercive control threads, and as we've seen over the years, how pervasive that control has become within the Iglesia Ni Cristo. Like off the top of my head, I can think about like the thumbprints and how that represents unity, but it's like to me that's just even more controlling. It's like faith disguised as or control disguised as faith, I should say. So with that being said, I kind of wanted to share this poem with you guys that I wrote in one of my posts, but if you're not familiar with it or if you haven't come across it, I'll just read it, and then if it resonates with you, it kind of just describes my experience in the church. Um, so it says there were rows. It's called Frozen Obedience, and it really just talks about the impact of this type of system on the body, um, and how healing your trauma can really have an impact on the way your body moves after trauma. So it says there were rows of body, rows of obedience, rows of women on one side, men on the other, children learning silence before they learn themselves. Single file, always single file. Not where you wanted to sit, not where your body relaxed, not where your spirit wandered, just where you were told. And maybe that's the thing people don't understand about systems like that. How trauma doesn't always arrive screaming. Sometimes it arrives organized, pressed shirt, polished shoes, hands folded neatly in your lap. Sometimes trauma sounds like rhythm. Yes, Father, Amen. Over and over and over until the words stop meaning anything and start becoming muscle memory. A nervous system trained not to ask, not to feel, not to hesitate, but to comply. Stand now, sit now, bow now, agree now. And as a child, you don't call it dissociation. You call it being good. You don't call it freezing. You call it reverence. You don't call it abandoning yourself. You call it faith. I remember the prayers rising louder than my own inner voice, prayers for the administration, prayers for obedience, prayers for submission, wrapped in holiness. And there I was, small body, still body, numb body, echoing, yes, Father, while somewhere underneath my ribs, my real self was going quiet. There's the part people miss. It wasn't one moment, it was repetition. It was years of teaching the body that safety meant compliance, that belonging meant self-erasure, that questioning your discomfort was more dangerous than disconnecting from it. So, of course, I lost touch with my body. My body was never invited into the room, only my obedience was. And healing? Real healing has been the slow return to the terrifying return, the return to sensation, to instinct, to hunger, to anger, to breath, to noticing where my shoulders tense, to noticing when my stomach knots, to learning that my body was never the enemy, it was the witness. It remembered what my mind tried to normalize. Now, healing looks like this: choosing where I sit, leaving rooms that freeze me, trusting the pause before I answer, letting my no exist without guilt. And maybe the most sacred thing I've ever done was stop saying yes, Father, to systems that demanded my body but never truly saw me. Now, when I stand because I choose to. And for the first time in my life, my body knows the difference. So, I didn't think I would get emotional reading that. But I think it kind of brings things full circle as to why I chose this specialization and why I help women in and men in abusive relationships find the parts of themselves that they had to hide so that they can become whole again. And I think that's the beautiful thing about therapy is unlearning survival patterns and mechanisms and rewiring your nervous system so that you can feel safe within yourself. That's why I think therapy is so beautiful. But um I did not think I was gonna get emotional. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. If that poem resonated with you, feel free to leave a comment below and feel free to share your experience if you're new here or if you're just a viewer that's been watching my stuff for a while. Um, and I will see you guys in the next video. I just wanted to pop in and say hi. Okay, bye.